Good morning, Robin. Yes, some pretty startling revelations. We've just learned that there was a security camera over the other side of the Louvre at the spot filming the robbers as they placed a cherry picker and then cut a hole in the window and entered the building. But the image from that security camera was not transmitted live to the security guards in the museum's control room. In fact, it was only seen about 4 minutes later, by which time the robbers had already smashed the glass cabinets, grabbed 8 pieces of France's priceless crown jewels and had left the building. There were, we're told, not enough screens in the control room for the guards to view all the sensitive camera points simultaneously. That weakness was highlighted earlier this year in a museum audit, but not addressed. And check this, there were 5 audits of the Louvre over the last decade. This morning's review by a government watchdog said if police and private security guards had have been alerted just 30 seconds earlier, then they could have stopped the robbers escaping. Guys, police officers rushing here on that morning in October initially arrived at this side of the Louvre because they weren't told that the daylight heist was happening over the other side of the museum. The jewels, of course, have not yet been recovered, George.
Boy, those lapses are stunning. Okay, Tom, thanks very much.
That was... Now, we've all seen the movies. Mission Impossible, Ocean's 11, The Italian Job, National Treasure. I think this is going to be the walk-on music anytime I interview Stack. I'm sure they would probably love it. You know, you've seen those movies, though. The music builds, these lasers crisscross the room. Someone whispers into her earpiece, and I'm touching my ear right now. I'm in. While tapping at this, impossible speed. The audience, they believe that when priceless treasures are stolen, it must involve genius criminals and breathtaking technology. The real-world Louvre heist was nothing like that. No lasers, no master hacker, no Hollywood plot twist. 88 million euros in French crown jewels were stolen from one of the most famous museums on Earth because the password protecting the surveillance system was, we'll find out from Tracey. That password had not been changed in years. Wait till you hear what the password was. Audits warned about it, the warnings were ignored, cameras were installed, but no one was truly watching. This is not a movie. That is leadership failure. Joining me is Tracey Birkenhauer, co-owner of Stack and proud new sponsor of WDTK, I should say, and author of the article, The 88 Million Password, Lessons from the Louvre Heist. Tracey breaks down why this was not a technology failure, but a failure of governance, risk management, and organizational culture, I should say. Tracey, welcome to Detroit's Morning Answer.
Thanks for having me, John Anthony. I'm so happy to be with you this morning.
No problem. Now, Tracey, take us back to when you first learned the details of this heist. What immediately stood out to you, and what made you say this story needed to be written?
It has all of the salient points. It completely resonates with everything we do at Stack Cybersecurity here in Livonia, Michigan. We see this day in and day out. We tell business owners, business leaders, they have very serious security issues, and they say, great, thank you so much, goodbye. They do nothing. And then, just like the Louvre, they make massive capital expenditures. They'll build new headquarters. They will do all of these things that are very showy to the public and that makes them look so strong and formidable. All the while, we know that behind the scenes, they are so extremely vulnerable. And I like that you teed up the password, right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you about the most expensive password in history. For over a decade, the world's largest museum protected their surveillance system with the password Louvre.
Oh,
that's it. Just Louvre.
Wow.
No exclamation point even. No numbers. They didn't even say Louvre 1, 2, 3. It was just Louvre. So on October 19th, 4 thieves, I dare say they weren't career criminals. They're criminals for sure, but I don't think that they were all that sophisticated. But they dressed up as construction workers, which we call social engineering, right? People believed they were construction workers because they had on their little outfits, but they stole $102 million worth in French crown jewels, which we all know are irreplaceable, and you really cannot put a price on them because they literally cannot be replaced. And they did all of this. They were only inside the building for 4 minutes. They escaped. It's debatable whether it was 7 or 8 minutes. Okay. But that's the entirety of what happened. And it's terrifying to think about when you see the video of the criminals inside the Louvre while the security people basically have to watch them because they aren't armed. They are there to protect the visitors, not the works of art. So these guys are in there with these little saws, and then at one point the guy literally has to use his body to like try to slam against this case, and he finally gets it open. It definitely was not Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
right.
Tracy, as I think about this, this is like people who use password as their password, or 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, or whatever. How important is it to have a password that's not easily known? I mean, people use their names, their birth dates, or marriage years. How important is that?
It is absolutely vitally important. I dare say when we talk about low-hanging fruit in cybersecurity, password, yes, that is the key to the kingdom. And we strongly recommend using a password manager. It makes it so easy. And the other thing is never, ever, ever save your password in your browser. It makes it so easy. And the browser prompts you nearly every single time. Do you want me to save that password? And I'm telling you, everyone, all your listeners out there, be strong. Say no. Just say no. Do not save your password in your browser. And on our website, stackcyber.com, we have the instructions to remove your passwords from your browsers, and we have all the browsers listed out there. If you think of a browser we don't have, contact me, Tracey at stackcyber.com. Email me and tell me, and I will absolutely get those details up there. Yes, a strong password. We have proven that a weak password, you can crack it in a matter of hours, pretty much any weak password. But if you just make it a little more complicated and take it up to maybe like 12 characters, and you have, your special characters and your upper and lower case, if you put all of those out there, they say that it would take like 1,000 years to crack it. It's nearly, it takes just forever. And it's just so easy to do. And password managers the expensive ones are $10 a month. That's for the expensive one, right? So you could protect everything you have for $10 a month at the high end, but you really could probably get one for half that, right? Yeah. So why wouldn't you just do that? It's so easy.
That's so true. I use about a 10 to 12 character in almost every password that I use. But Tracey, in this article, 88 million, you describe this as, and I want you to make the distinction. You describe this as a governance failure more than a technology failure. Can you explain that distinction in a way non-technical leaders can understand?
Yes. So, what I say in the article too, right? The Louvre's leadership operated under a dangerous illusion, right? Yeah. They had 5 security audits. They were told all of their shortcomings, and they were significant. The auditors themselves were able to break in and take over their surveillance system and their key card system. So they knew, they had their recommendations, they knew what was going on, 5 security audits in a decade, and yet the critical systems remained unprotected. They did nothing. And so what I have brought back to light in my writings, because I feel like it resonates so much, is the Dunning-Kruger effect in cybersecurity. That means a sense of overconfidence. We see this in our business relationships every single day. We talk with the leaders of companies and they say, we're fine. We have MFA, or we have a firewall. Someone literally told me this the other day, and this was a prime defense contractor who operates out of their home, which is scary. And they kept saying, I have NordVPN. I have NordVPN. I'm protected. I'm like, No, you're not.
But Tracey, also you make a strong point, and I think this is key. You made a strong point in the article that having audits is not the same as having security. Why do leaders fall into that trap?
They don't want to put forth the effort that we describe in these audits, because we do these types of audits all the time. That's what we do. Yeah. And they say, oh, well, we had this audit done. Check. It's a checkbox to them. They say, oh, we had the audit. They actually think the audit is doing the work. The audit is the start of the work. Yeah. The audit kicks off all of the work. The audit gives you the outline for the work you must complete.
Wow.
And the Louvre had their instructions. Wow. They had their run book. They had their playbook, right? Just like I am convinced they had their disaster recovery plans, right? Yeah. They probably had them in a binder somewhere. How many tabletops? Like we do in cybersecurity, we'll do a tabletop exercise, which basically is a dry run, okay? Like we'll do one, let's say, okay, there's a water main break at one of our client sites. Go. Like what do we do to protect their, all of their equipment and everything else on site? What if there was an employee who all of a sudden started taking their, some of their important data? And we have the tools on all of our client systems. Yeah. We can tell like everything your employees download, everything they look at. I'm talking, if we can tell if they're going to leave the company soon and they start, taking your client list and things, and they are so busted. But if you don't have those types of tools, forget about it. You have no insight into anything that's going on in your network.
Yeah. Well, Tracey, let's talk solutions, because there are businesses that listen to this show. How does Stack help organizations avoid exactly the kind of basic but catastrophic mistakes we saw at the Louvre?
Well, we give you the playbook and then we execute it. There are a lot of companies out there, a lot of businesses, our competition even, where they'll come in, they'll do a pen test, they'll do a CSRA is what we call it, a cybersecurity risk assessment. And that's the gold standard. You do a cybersecurity risk assessment, you hand it over and you say, wow, I found 400 Social Security numbers. I found your bank routing information. I saw your password, which, your wife probably isn't going to like, because a lot of people use really weird passwords. Yeah. Guys, stop. Just stop. There's such weird things out there. Just don't do it anymore.
He's not talking about my passwords, people. He's not talking about mine. Let me make that plain and clear. I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of the worst ones I ever found was from my friend from church, and I know his wife, and I'm like, oh, no. You need to get rid of that thing. So they all just need to do better. And we literally can hold your hand throughout this entire process. So we will go in there, we will find all of your vulnerabilities, all the things that you need to do, the things that you absolutely must do. And then all we do is we come in and we clean it all up. We put your tools on your system. We use a tool called Network Detective. I'm talking, I can even find like any portable media device that's being used on your network that you probably don't know about. Oh yeah, I can find that. We can find out if your staff is using shadow AI, which is a big issue right now. Shadow AI, just like shadow IT, is the AI tools not secured that your staff is using. And I'm 100% confident they are, whether they're doing it on their computer or on their phone. That's the other thing that we need to think about. Everyone has a tiny computer in their hand. Wow. Everybody does, right? So we also employ mobile device management. If your staff are using it, even if they're just using it for authentication purposes, for their multi-factor authentication, MFA, we need the ability to lock that thing down. What if it gets stolen? What if they're in a third world country and somebody steals it, right? What we call it is like bricking it. So we need the ability to shut it down, wipe it, make it unusable for anyone. And that is really important. But a lot of staff, frankly, don't want to do that. They find that scary.
Yeah.
But the odds of it happens rarely. I mean, very, very rarely.
Yeah. Now, let's bring this home. Michigan has manufacturers, healthcare systems, school districts, nonprofits, and local governments. When you look at these Michigan businesses and institutions, Where do you see the most common security blind spots?
Oh, you know what it is? It's all in the budget.
Mm.
The biggest blind spot is budget allocation. We have found that these big organizations, when you look at, let's talk about a pie chart, okay?
Yeah.
And you look at the spend for cybersecurity, it is the tiniest, most minuscule, little bitty piece of pie, like you wouldn't even bother eating it, right? It's like just so small. Because they do not prioritize it, because they don't see it. They don't see it until they have to pay that ransom. And that's the irony. The same thing with the Louvre. I bet you, and you know, your former law enforcement, you know about these things.
Yeah.
They're going to offer a reward for the return with no questions asked.
Right.
They always do, right? And then transactions are made, people don't talk about it, and then all of a sudden they reappear. We hope, right? I mean, odds are those things are already chopped up and in
on the black market.
Yeah, it's probably in Russia somewhere. Putin's probably wearing that crown. I mean, who knows, right? So, but let's hope maybe they can recoup them by paying them. So literally paying these bad guys who stole from them, they're going to pay them. That's what businesses do every day. They pay the bad guys.
Yeah.
They pay the hackers who are from Nigeria, who are from Russia, who are from Korea, who are from China, a lot from China, right? And now we're also seeing a lot of bad stuff coming out of Dublin, Ireland. It has become a hotbed of activity. So you're willing to pay them, but you're not willing to pay me, a small local business owner in Livonia, Michigan. You won't pay me, but you will pay them. Shame on you.
Yeah,
because your priorities just aren't right.
Right. You know, when you think about you talk about budgeting for this is actually a two-part question. For a Michigan small business owner listening who thinks cybersecurity is either expensive or intimidating, where does Stack actually start? And for listeners who want to take that first step toward protecting their organization, how can Stack help them get started before they become the next headline?
The first step is a cybersecurity risk assessment. We are doing one for a car dealership in Ypsilanti right now. They have never invested in the cybersecurity tools that they really, really needed because they didn't know what they didn't know. And that is so common in cybersecurity. You know the questions to ask your accountant. You know the questions to ask your attorney. You don't know about cybersecurity because it changes every single minute. If you don't have a little bit of imposter syndrome, especially with AI today, when it comes to anything regarding technology, there's probably something wrong with you. No one knows all of the things. And people have this thing where it's almost like they think they should know, but they don't. So they get embarrassed and then they don't want to talk about it because, you know, maybe it's a little over their head and they feel like we're going to come in. You know, it's like, I don't know if you ever saw the SNL skit with the help desk guys who would just go,
yes,
you know?
Yes. Oh my God.
I mean, you're so mean and condescending. Yeah. And I feel like that's the reputation that companies like ours have, that we're going to be condescending. We're going to make you feel stupid. That is our whole thing. We would never do that. Literally, if we go in and someone says, I don't know how to use a mouse, we teach you how to use a mouse. Like, we are completely 100% full service. Not only do we come in, we'll do an assessment. We will tell you everything that we're going to do to lock your stuff down. We also provide 24/7 help desk services, meaning that we have people call us all the time. I'm having a problem in Excel with this. I don't know what I'm doing here with this formula. Can you help me?
Yeah.
Well, yes. That's literally what our help desk will do. We will hold your hand through that. Oh, something's messed up with my printer. We troubleshoot it for you over the phone, whatever. Can't figure it out. We go on site. There we go. We fix it up for you. So we're absolutely full service. And then we also have our own private secure cloud that is so much more secure and so much less expensive than the big ones.
Yeah.
So we are very competitive in that realm.
Hey,
so we
Tracey,
do end-to-end.
We got about a minute left, and because I want to afford you the opportunity, do you guys just do Michigan? And where can people find you if they want to have you do an assessment for them? We got about 45 seconds left.
We will service any client in the United States. We will go anywhere, and we have staff all over the place. But most of us are right here in Livonia, Michigan. To reach us, you can email info@stackcybersecurity.com. stackcyber.com. That's STACKCYBER. You can also go to our website, stackcyber.com.
All right, Tracey Birkenhauer, I want to thank you so much, not only for investing in what we're doing here at the station, but also investing in and willing to invest in so many people so that they don't become the next Louvre heist. So thank you so much for joining us on Detroit's Morning Answer. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, John Anthony.
All right, that's Tracey Birkenhauer. Guys, head over to stackcyber.org. We'll be right back.